Hi, so I wrote a story yesterday, What I Do Affects You, on the Medium account. And a friend of mine, Adele, contacted me and said, I don't get this, you're going to have to explain a bit more. So let me try and explain if it can be explained. First of all, let me read the story. So it's entitled, What I Do Affects You. I was reading the Bulletin from the Krishnamurti Foundation, in which it reads, and this is a quote from Krishnamurti, and we are responsible for whatever happens in the field of this consciousness. That is, if I am violent, I'm adding violence to this consciousness common to all of us. If I'm not violent, not adding to it. If I'm not violent, I'm not adding to it. I'm bringing about a totally new factor in that consciousness. That's from the book Can Conflict End? So that quote connected me to an experience I had the other day. Now, maybe I should pause there and explain first, or at least try to, what the quote means. So we're talking about, or Krishnamurti's talking about, or the teachings that came through Krishnamurti, as I referred to, talks about consciousness, the field of consciousness. So the field of consciousness is a bit like the air that we all breathe. We all share the air. We all share the earth. And the notion is that we all share consciousness. So what I go on to write about is me giving you a way that I understand how we share consciousness. So I'll read that. So as I say, it connected me to an experience I had the other day. I'm reluctant to say I was thinking as a hope that we experience consciousness. And again, what I'm trying to say there is that not everything is thought. Indeed, let's hope most things aren't thought, even if they find their way into thought. That we can experience beyond thought or before thought. We can experience before words and beyond words. But we usually use words and thoughts to communicate what we've experienced. But neither should be seen as a substitute for what's actually happening. And I guess what I'm saying is actually happening is perhaps consciousness. So where was I? Yeah, so I was saying that I was hoping I was experiencing consciousness rather than just thinking, although I'm using thinking to explain what I was experiencing. So many years ago, I think it was about 1983, I heard Jasper Carrott, who is an English comedian on TV, saying something like, we could be living on the fingertip of some huge giant. I recall being entertained by that thought, and it wasn't too far off what I was thinking the other day, which was that just as there's a whole world inside me of cells and what keeps the body alive, I as a body, I'm like one of those cells to consciousness. Do you get what I mean? Clearly Adele didn't, and perhaps other people neither. So what do I mean? So what I'm saying is, I'm operating here, but within me, there's a whole body at work that in some ways I don't have a clue. In many ways I don't have a clue what it's doing. Like, what do I know about the heart pumping, about the brain working? It's just doing its own thing. I'm breathing without even thinking about it. So the body's doing all this, and there's all these cells going on inside the body that is making sure that's happening. And what I'm saying is, in a way to try and understand that we share consciousness, is that this body is but a amplification, say, of a cell in my body, and I am as a cell to consciousness, and consciousness being the huge body. To take Jasper Carrott's notion that you could see consciousness as a huge giant, of which I'm a cell inside that huge giant's body. So the idea being is that we're all interconnected, although we feel separate. I don't know how a cell feels, but we can often feel separate, but actually we're part of the one consciousness. We've come from the same consciousness. I mean, some people might say consciousness is God. I actually might say that too, that everything is of God. That's a big statement. Anyway, to continue this, I probably explained it anyway. So when I read that excerpt from Krishnamurti, I understand what he means. If I'm bound as a cell in a body or as part of consciousness, it affects the whole. And yes, it seems to be true that the body can fight itself just like us humans. So I was just looking this up, that immunity within the body, when it's attacked, it's sometimes attacked by its own cells. People would know more about that than me, but the autoimmune system comes under attack, which creates illness. When the body is actually trying to protect itself, but then seems to overprotect itself, and then it causes itself problems. So the body can actually fight against itself. So in the same way that we as humans fight against ourselves, but what we have to learn, as much as our bodies need to learn, is how to work in harmony. Is that what I do affects you, what you do affects me, and that has a whole ripple effect. Is that it? Yeah, I think that's it. Adele, I hope that answers your question.